Can the Pittsburgh Penguins get the job done against the Columbus Blue Jackets? One would only hope. We'll discuss that game, Capitals, Avalanche, Vegas, and Utah. Props, 6 and 60, best bets, and a lot more here on Friday's edition of Puck Time. Welcome in, guys. Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing very well. I'm Andrew, of course, joined by Carmine and Bianco, and looking forward to breaking down today's games here on Freaky Friday. Carm, you never know what's going to happen in the NHL on a Friday. Of course, it's kind of like getaway day. Teams are getting ready for a busy Saturday slate. A lot of teams on those back-to-backs as well. How are you doing, Carm, and what are your thoughts? Pens and Jackets.
I'm doing great. I just had to get rid of a guy in our chat. Some losers like, fade these guys' picks on the show. I'm pretty sure I gave out some pretty good picks on the show yesterday. So to the guy who's no longer part of the channel, see ya. Don't let the door kick you. Hit your ass on the way out. Andrew, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Washington, Colorado. Your prop segment. Vegas Golden Knights in Utah. And then the return of 6 and 60. I was off last Friday. And then we'll do a best bet segment where hopefully on a short card, we can still give out some winners. But I'm looking forward to it. Some surprises last night, Andrew. Some really good games. I have to say, I went out and watched the first half of the football game. I had to support our producer, Dan, and his Eagles. That Washington Commanders team, Andrew, now 0-4 versus teams that have a record of 500 or better. Sorry, Washington fans, that's the Commanders. That's not a good record. But anyways, Andrew, we got hockey to talk about. Pittsburgh, Columbus, minus 130 for Pittsburgh in this one. Columbus plus 110. The over-under sits at 6.5. Andrew, I'm going to say this as far as the game goes. This seems like, as bad as people might think the Penguins are playing right now, this seems like a good get-well spot for them at a buy low price for them as well, too. Minus 130, they responded to that 7-1 beating that the Stars put on them by playing a really good game against the Red Wings. They held analytical advantage, unfortunately. When you're not winning, you lose games, and you lose games in OT. But maybe that signals a turnaround. This is a spot where you look at Columbus. They're 0-6. Their last 6 games, only one of those did they stay within a goal. They lost by 2+ all the other ones, and that one was a game against the San Jose Sharks to boot. I just think if Pittsburgh actually shows up and plays a similar game to what they did against the Red Wings, that they get the win here. I have to believe they get the win here. It's 130. I would actually look at the puck line as well too, and just sort of split a bit of a wager on the two. Take the minus 130, take the puck line as well too, and put like a unit, put a unit on each. What are your thoughts on this one?
My thoughts are I'm looking to take the over in this game because anytime I think the Penguins might have themselves a decent game, I think the other team's probably going to score some goals as well, and we'll look towards the over. The Penguins are the top 3 team. They were number 2 the last time I checked this season in expected goals for. And what's crazy, Carm, is there was a point in time, and I'm not sure if that's still the case, where they were the number 1 team in expected goals for, and they were the worst team as far as expected goals against. So they're creating so many chances offensively, guys, but just giving up equally as many chances defensively. This might sound crazy, Carm, because of, like you just talked about with Columbus. But what if I told you they're leading the league in November in expected goals for? It's kind of weird. I mean, that's hockey for you, right? Like, this team had got off to a good start. They were making some noise, and they were nowhere near those expected goal numbers. And now their game results haven't been nearly as good, and yet they're number 1. I'll tell you what, in the month of November, here are the teams for expected goals for. This might surprise some people looking at this because I was surprised looking at it here. You've got Columbus, Carolina, Winnipeg, Washington, Anaheim, Edmonton, then Pittsburgh. Sign me up for the over 6.5 here. This is usually a spot where I would look at a team total, right? Especially when you see a 6.5, you try and find a good price on one team to get to 4, and you don't have to worry about, a 5-2 or a 4-3. 7 goals is a lot of goals. There's no denying it. But to your point, Carm, about that game against Detroit, I think Pittsburgh deserved a little bit better. But I'm going to go ahead and just sit back and hope for Columbus to help me with the over, but hope that Pittsburgh does all the heavy lifting and pulls that one over the total. I wanted to get your thoughts on something, Carm, about Kyle Dubas. I kind of talked about this in the last time we mentioned Pittsburgh together, but you and I have had our fun talking about Dubas, but when he coached or when he was the GM of a different team. But now that he's the GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins, you can really tell that even though we're here November 15th, he's kind of hit the panic button. And he trades away Lars Eller, who's actually been pretty good for them, to a rival, the Washington Capitals, to potentially create cap space to bring somebody in at some point. But is it kind of an issue right now with this Pittsburgh Penguins team that they don't really know who they are? That's kind of a problem for this team, especially this early in the year.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I understand what they had to do last year. Likely not being able to re-sign Jake Gunsel, so they move him at the trade deadline. The thing with Dubas is it's the same problem that they had in Toronto. Is when most of your cap space is tied into like 4 or 5 players, you just there's no money to trickle down and get those character guys that end up playing on the third and fourth lines. And your top 2 lines are going to get you if they're functioning properly and they're scoring and they're winning you games, they're going to get you into the playoffs. But in the playoffs is where the third and fourth lines get you deeper into the playoffs, get you to a cup final. Case in point, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Those third and fourth lines were great for them. And they come away with a couple cups and make it to a cup final. It's a problem they have in Pittsburgh, and it stays with it until one of the guys retires, until someone's ready to go for the betterment of the team. So it's a problem in Pittsburgh. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year unless something drastically changes for them, and I hate it because I'm a Sidney Crosby fan. You love the guy. Even Gino Malkin, I like the guy. The guy is funny. The guy puts his heart into when he's on the ice. But there's so many people being overpaid on the team, much like the Leafs. It's tough for them, Andrew. But to get back to this game in specific, you talked about the team total. The team total on Pittsburgh is 3.5 minus 105. It's minus 135 to the under. That in itself is a little surprising to me because I would have thought something a little different. But I get it. They their last couple of games, they only scored a couple against Detroit. They only scored 1 against Dallas. But they're not playing Detroit. They're not playing Dallas. I think Detroit's been a little bit better defensively. If you look at their underlying numbers over the last 5 or 6 games, they have been better defensively. They're playing Columbus, a team that is allowing goals while losing games. And we know that this Columbus team, unfortunately, is going to end bottom of the Eastern Conference standings. I just don't see who else there is that is as bad as this team. And then everything that happened in the offseason has an emotional effect on the team, throughout the season. So especially when you're losing, I would take that team total over 3.5 minus 105. You're laying practically no juice. And if it is a get well spot for the Penguins, and I have to believe they're going to score at least 4 goals.
Exactly. You got to think that if you see a good performance out of this Pittsburgh team, they're going to get you that magic number 4. And if you take a look at the losses this Columbus Blue Jackets team has had on the season, Carm, a lot of those losses, they have given up 4 goals. They're a scrappy team. They're a well-coached team. They're a team that's battled in games. They don't give up. But at the end of the day, when they do lose, they give up 4 goals on their end. It's an interesting one. And looking at kind of the opening number as far as Pittsburgh's concerned, we kind of did see respect for them in the opener. But to your point, definitely getting a good number on that team total. All right, guys, do us a favor. Hit the like button if you are enjoying the content on YouTube. Comment after. Let us know what you are betting right here on WagerTalk TV, on PuckTime. Comment below. We're curious because it's a good Friday slate. We got a handful of games, and we want to know what you guys are betting. Carm, speaking of what we're betting, of course, people can get all of our picks over at WagerTalk.com. And you've been doing the Let Carm Cook segment and all kinds of great content. Anything special going for you right now at WagerTalk.com?
A couple afternoon plays in the Euros. 3-0 sweep with sides yesterday in not the Euros, but Nations League. It's match day 5. A couple plays going today at 2:45. And then an NHL 3-pack for tonight. Yesterday I split a couple units, and then more importantly, a 5% NFL play on Sunday. I really like this play. But I look at last night's card, Andrew. And we give the plays out on the show, and I don't want to go high volume. I did that in early October, didn't work out well. Lowered the volume, went on a really nice run in November. Sometimes you get nights like yesterday. It was a 1-2 night. I split like 2%. I split 4% between the Sabres money line and the Sabres puck line. They get the win in OT, so that's basically a push. One negates the other. No units lost, no units gained. And then I had the Edmonton Oilers, and I think in my write-up I said, hopefully the Oilers have learned from the last 4 or 5 minutes of the New York Islanders game that you never let up in a game until it's over. What do they do? Because I have them in regulation, minus 115. They give up a goal, a breakaway goal to boot to to the Nashville Predators with 2.5 minutes left in the game. Go to overtime, they win that game. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me! But we move on to the today, and then the other plays, the ones we talked about on the show. I could possibly put them out as 1% plays for clients like Philadelphia Flyers plus 155, the New Jersey Devils getting plus money against Florida. Like both of them got the job done. The thing I found the most troubling, Andrew, let me tell you what the thing I found is someone in our comment section said, because I said to Brian, let's bet a beer on this game. And someone said, why don't you guys bet a pineapple pizza? Guys, what is it with putting pineapple on pizza? It does not deserve to be on pizza. Uh, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to talk about the
Carm,
Colorado Avalanche. And
the worst
was
part
that
about
you
the
with a trolling account, Andrew, with that pineapple pizza comment,
yeah,
or no?
it's me. It was me. No, I was gonna say the worst part about that Oilers game was, as you know, I had the underdog and you had the Oilers in reg, so then neither of us won. It was the worst thing ever. Like I knew, and I did not feel good about the Oilers game going into overtime. They're so good. You put McDavid in open ice, they're probably gonna win. So you have the regulation. I've got Nashville money line and Oilers win in overtime. It's the worst case scenario, the
You
worst
know what that's
combination,
called?
but we've been
It is
doing good on the
called
show. Yeah, yeah. It's tough.
Andrew. It's
It's tough.
called. I believe the term, and maybe some of the older guys in the chat from my era. What I mean, of like when they had leather helmets in the NFL. But my era can attest to this fact. I believe it's called like a Polish middle, which is the one play on a game in which if you take two different plays or one on each side, it's the one play, one result where you lose everything. It's the reverse of a middle, the Polish middle. So, with that said, Andrew, um, Colorado minus 160, Washington plus 135. Right now, the projected goalies are Georgiev and Lindgren in this one. Total sits at 6.5. 30 cents to the over. It won't be long before we start seeing one or two sevens pop up in the NHL, I believe, as far as totals go. Tell me where you're leaning on this one before I tell you what I think is going to happen tonight.
Carm, this is going to actually be my show best bet here. And, I always call it Freaky Friday. Got that from Mikey Picks on Twitter. On Freaky Friday, you're always weary of taking some of these favorites because there's always seems to be live dogs on Fridays. But I think the Avalanche are a favorite that will get the job done. But I think they're going to get the job done by hitting that key number of 4, the magic number of 4. And something you said, Carm, when you were segueing me into this was about that total, right? 6.5, juiced up. It's just going. It's not seeing any under money come in. It's only getting higher. Some books, they're pushing it as high as they can with 6.5 minus 130 and even higher. and it's only on its way to 7. It's the only way it's going to go is to that 7. So even though I usually like to get short plus money on these 3.5 team total overs or like minus 110 ish, the fact is I'm laying minus 120 with the Avalanche right now, and they are as healthy as they could possibly be. And sometimes when a team finally gets all their players back, guys, you worry a little bit about chemistry. But with how McKinnon and Makar and Rantanen have just carried this team on their backs so far, you got to think there's a huge sigh of relief to get all these players back, to get Jonathan Drouin back, to get Arturi Lehkonen back, to get Valerie Nichushkin back. The sigh of relief these guys have to have, at this point, to have depth now. The only people that should be worried are prop bettors, because at this point in time, you might not know who you're going to be betting on for your props on the Avalanche because they're a much deeper team now at this point. And I know people say that we don't show love to the Capitals. I've been showing love to them recently, all right? They have been a great team. I think that people aren't talking about them enough. They have been solid. I've given out props on McMichael. I've given out props on Strome. But I think this is a time where you take the Avalanche over 3.5 goals. They're playing some good hockey lately. The games they lose have been super tight. And again, Carm, I look at the expected goals and against numbers. But one thing I've gotten away from doing, now that we're here in the middle of November, we can't just look at these stats on the full season scale. Because if you look at the full season, you get caught up in, how a team was doing it to start the year and, the first couple of games. So again, I'll go back to this. Would you believe me if I told you since November 1st, the Capitals have the worst expected goal numbers in the entire league? Right after them, the San Jose Sharks. They are worse than the San Jose Sharks right now in expected goals against the Washington Capitals. They were talking about it on WagerTalk today, about their opinions about, about streaks and hot teams. And I feel the same way as what some of those guys said on the show is if you haven't been riding the Capitals and you haven't been riding the Jets, you either stay away or you try and pick your spot to call out regression and go against them. I do think a streak is only over when a team loses twice in a row. That's kind of my eye about a real streak. But this Colorado team, I think, at home, getting the last change, they have the depth, Carm. That's my show best bet here. I've had a rough couple days. I'm confident in this play. This will be a client play, guys, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Carm, after all of that, I really hope you don't tell me the Capitals are going to win tonight. Please don't do it to me.
I absolutely love. No, I'm not gonna go down that road again. But I love the comments that we're getting each and every day in our live chat, and even in our Instagram. Kennedy22 in our Instagram live feed right now says pineapples on pizza is a no-no. And Kennedy, I completely agree with you on that one. But listen, to each their own. Some people like it. Our producer Dan loves figs with like a balsamic drizzle. He's a foodie. He's a very good cook as well too. From all the videos I've seen of him cooking. Andrew, in this one here, if you're looking at the total, like some of the numbers on this one, whether it's first period totals, whether it's full game totals, you look at Colorado, and Colorado 11 home games are 9-1-1 to the over at home thus far. Now, at some point, that is going to start to regress. We're going to see some lower scoring games. I'm not entirely sure that that's going to happen tonight. This Washington team has been playing so well for so long, 15 games, 16 games into the season. But it was also a lot of their success was with the fact that they've had a heavy home balanced schedule to start. I think they've only played 5 road games thus far. 5 of their 15 or 5 of their 16 games have been on the road, and now they head out for this road trip, and we'll see where they are. Blowing that lead to the Leafs and losing in OT. Sometimes you hit the road and you're not over it. We'll see. There's a lot more firepower on this Colorado team than there was in that Toronto team that won 4-3 in OT, as Austin Matthews continued to sit out with an upper body injury. So we'll see. I just believe that Georgiev is playing a lot better right now in goal. Colorado's getting bodies back. They have another one back tonight, and this team is. I said they're getting ready to go on a run. I said it early when they lost their first 5, and people were panicking, and they're starting to put it together now. They're one of the best teams in the West. I still believe it's Dallas as the best team until proven otherwise. But I think we're going to see goals in this one. You can look at the Colorado total, Andrew, but that's where I'm going as far as this game. Give me the Colorado minus 160 in this one. I get it. It's a bigger price than we'd normally lay. I would, but I think Colorado's definitely the right side in this one and get the W.
And Carm, you feel the same way as me, right? There's no worry about the chemistry. I mean, for these guys, it's a better thing getting these guys back. I have no worry about these guys and their chemistry. I feel like one thing I respect about the Avalanche and the organization, they don't rush players back. I think that there are a couple of these guys were ready for a while, right? Like Lehkonen, he was ready for a week or two. They don't want to get them back in the lineup until they're in game shape.
Yeah. No, and Andrew, and I get it. The chemistry doesn't worry me. It's the reverse of it. When these guys are out of the lineup, and now you have guys playing with guys who, through the course of last season, the previous season, didn't play on the same line together, or limited action on the same lines together. That they're not. It's a trickle down effect throughout the whole lineup. Anytime you miss a guy from the number 1 line or the number 2 line, and you got to plug someone else in there, it is normally someone being plugged in from the second line or from the third line, so it has an adverse effect on those second and third lines. So teams struggle, and people are like, one guy out of a lineup, and this team is struggling, is because there is a trickle down effect on one big player being out of the lineup, because it kind of screws up the other lines. Now they're getting these guys back. These guys are in sync. They practice together. They get on that ice, and it's there. They know. We see those passes sometimes. Like, how did he make that pass? How did he know the guy was there? Because you've played with the guy for so long, he knows where to find a space in the ice in the offensive zone that you're going to get it on his stick. That's why guys like Zach Hyman scored 50 plus goals last year, because he's playing with Connor McDavid, who even blindfolded would put a puck where Zach Hyman is supposed to be, in or around the front of that net, and Hyman scored those goals. So this is what I talk about, the chemistry part of it. It's getting the guys back. I don't think it'll be a chemistry problem. It's when they're out of the lineup that I worry about the chemistry problem.
Absolutely, and I'm excited about it. Hopefully, this game is a good one. Hopefully, they put a show on for us, and hopefully, we can both get some goals and cash a ticket in that game. All right, I've got some props for us here tonight on the Friday slate. Just 2 props here for the prop playbook segment. I'm super excited about these guys, and I only picked 2, but I really, really do like these. Before I get to them, I want to remind people as we head into the weekend about 2 things. The first is that I've been recording an every game on the board video every single week so far as Saturday's NHL slate is concerned. It's been great. You guys have really been appreciating it. And don't forget to tune in. I'm recording that this evening. It will be put out tomorrow morning, and I'll be talking about a pick on every single Saturday game right here on WagerTalk TV. The second thing, I have that great deal going with Adam Trigger. You can get 1 month of my hockey, 1 month of his college basketball in one great package. You can get that at my page, or you can get that on Trig's page. So 2 sports for a great price, Trig and myself. All right, let's get to the picks. Sean Monahan from the Columbus Blue Jackets, one of the better players on this team, one of the most consistent players on the team. And I think that the number we're getting here is because nobody's really noticing it. Nobody's really betting it. And why would anybody want to bet a prop on a Columbus Blue Jacket player? Well, I'll tell you why. The price is plus 112 tonight. He has gone over 2.5 shots on goal in 9 of his last 11 games. In 5 straight home games, he's gone over 2.5 shots on goal. And here's the caveat here. Pittsburgh ranks 30th in the league as far as shots on goal allowed per game. So this to me is a recipe for success for Sean Monahan at home to go up and over 2.5 shots on goal. I like that one quite a bit here, guys. And next one we're going to go with is Patrick Kane. Sir Patrick Kane from the Detroit Red Wings over his shots on goal as well. And he has gone over this number in 4 straight games versus Anaheim. So sometimes I look towards guys that are on hot streaks. Sometimes I look towards guys that have moved up in the lineup. Sometimes it's purely matchup based. And for whatever reason, this player does very well against the Anaheim Ducks. We'll take Patrick Kane over his shots on goal, Carm, against the Anaheim Ducks. So a play on an earlier game and a play on a later game. Let's cash these tickets, cash these props, and hopefully have success tonight in the prop market. Back to you, Carm.
Right, let's seriously, let's try and cash some tickets, Andrew. So I got those props down and we'll try and make some cash on it. Speaking of cash, the team from Sin City makes the trip out to Utah for this one, Andrew. Utah plus 105, Vegas minus 125 in this one. It looks like it's going to be Hill and Ingram. No confirmations yet. The only confirmation I've seen in the games that we've discussed thus far that's changed during the show is Elvis in goal for Columbus. Hopefully he leaves the building before that game is over. Andrew, total sits here at 6, shaded 15 cents to the over. A couple plays here that I want to talk about. I like Utah in this game. I want to take the plus 105 with Utah. That's starting to disappear on our live lines because I'm starting to see even money on them. As good a start as the Vegas Golden Knights have had, and I mentioned it in the first week of the season. The last 2 years, Vegas Golden Knights in their first 15-game pack of the seasons went 12-2-1 and 12-3 in their first 15 games. They're now 16 games into the season. They won their last game, but they are, I believe it's 9-6 were their first 15 games. They're 2-5 on the road thus far. One of the wins coming in Anaheim. One of the wins came in Edmonton when the Oilers were struggling. So that's not a good record for a team with a winning record when you're 2-5 on the road, and they've struggled on the road in the past. Now they're going to Utah, and Utah comes off a win over Colorado, a couple games in a row now at home that they've won, and they've started to score goals again. This Utah team, their team total, I feel like I'm priced out of this one, Andrew. You talk about team total prices, and the 2.5, the 3.5 is plus money. The 2.5 for the dog is normally what the actual team total is. It's minus 155. And the problem with team totals is it's 155 now, and then at 2 o'clock this afternoon, it's like 170, 180. So it is hard to go out and play the team total, because by the time people who aren't watching this live watch us at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that price is through the roof. So with that said, I think I'm priced out of the team total. But I do like Utah today, so I'm going to take plus 105 on this one, Andrew. I'm going to go to you for your thoughts on this one while I get ready for the 6 and 60.
All right. And, Carm, I like the price on the dog here. I see where you're going with the team total, and I think that the odds makers respect it as well, and that's why you're not getting that good of a number on the 2.5 to the over with the team total. But when I look at this game overall, there's kind of 2 ways I'm looking at it. But the first thing I have to mention is the last game that Utah played. And I think I might have texted you about it, or I was at least tweeting about it. I could not believe, I've never seen in my whole entire time I've watched hockey in my life, I've never seen a 7-minute power play. I didn't even know that was a thing that existed. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen in hockey, Carm, but it happened. Utah took a 7-minute power play. It was a 5-minute penalty for the same guy and a 2-minute penalty for the same guy. So they gave him a 7-minute penalty. And then within that penalty, they took a 2-minute penalty again. And so I think it was like 10 or 11 straight minutes in a game where the Utah Hockey Club were undermanned. It was unbelievable to watch. And the crazy part is Carolina did not score a single goal in all of that time. The final expected goal numbers in the last Utah game, they listed 7-2 for Carolina. How often do we even see expected goal numbers get as high as 7? Usually 4 or 5 is pretty high. 7-2, and yet they win 4-1. So there's two ways to look at it here, guys. Two ways to look at it. Number one, Utah won a game they probably shouldn't have. And so that means they're going to play even harder the next game, or they won a game they shouldn't have, and karma will serve them right the next time out, is kind of how I look at it. And so, Carm, when I looked at this game and I look at the opening number here and I see what you saw, I was a little bit confused here by this, thinking, okay, we're seeing this short of a price. Opening was 6.5 for the total. Now it's down to a 6. I'm going to go ahead and take the first period over. This Utah team has been very exciting at home, especially. They've been very exciting in the first period of these games. And same thing for Vegas. Both these teams come out flying early on. And I think some of the goals and the chances that Utah were allowing and giving up against Carolina the last time out could come back to haunt them early in this game against a Vegas team that will not make any mistakes when it comes to goal scoring. So first period, over 1.5 goals. Let's cash this ticket in just 20 minutes, guys, and hopefully get the job done with at least 2 goals. I love the number coming down from 6.5 to 6 because that means we get a better price on the over 1.5. All right, Carm, you have your eye on some picks for us for the Saturday slate. Over to you, my friend.
Just to give you a few numbers, Andrew, on that play that you like in the first period. Utah, 7 home games, 5-2 to the first period over. Vegas Golden Knights, 7 road games this season, 5-2 to the first period over. So if you've been betting either one of them,
Great.
You're on a profitable angle. So let's see if that continues on for you tonight. I hope it does. All right. So sorry there. I just had to mute myself for a second. So guys, 6 and 60, just to explain before we get the shot clock going. I'm just going to let you know whether I like the team on the side on like the money line, the regulation line, the puck line, or a team over and under. There won't be any numbers on the screen, but that's because none of the books have the numbers on them. But I do like these plays because I can pretty much forecast what the price will be, but we're not going to put forecasted prices on the screen. So with that said, our beloved producer, if you have that 60-second shot clock, you can put it up there. If you don't, I'm not really worried. And a 3, I'm ready to go. And here we go. Ottawa, Carolina. Canes return home off a loss. They won 5 straight at home, scoring 27 goals in those 5 games. They will take care of Ottawa. I'm going to take the Canes in regulation. Winnipeg and Florida. Second half of the Florida double for Winnipeg. They lost, a rare loss to Tampa Bay. I think that gets doubled up because you got a Florida team that has just lost 2 straight at home to the New Jersey Devils. Give me Florida money line. Montreal and Columbus. Super rare dub for the Canadians here in the battle of the free space on the bingo card. Montreal gets the win. Edmonton and Toronto. These totals between these teams are normally at 7. It's a 6.5. It should be an entertaining one. Austin Matthews projected to be back in the lineup for the Leafs. Let's see some goals on Saturday. Detroit, the LA Kings. I'm taking plus money with the Wings here on the money line. I know it's a second of a back-to-back for them, but their underlying numbers show that this team is about to go on a run and a streak, and I think this West Coast trip should be able to help along with that. Chicago and Vancouver. I'm taking Vancouver puck line. 8-1 in this series for a team that desperately needs a home win. 8-1. Their last 9 games at home against Vancouver. 8-1 on the puck line. Their last 9 games at home against the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me Vancouver puck line, and that is your 6 and 60.
Bang. And the Canadians get a win. Wow, Carm, very generous. I appreciate that.
Canadians.
I
The
like
Canadians
it.
get a dub. It's the free space on the bingo card. And come on, man, they're playing Columbus, who are playing tonight against Pittsburgh. So you even get a little bit of help because they're on the second of a back-to-back. We'll see what happens with this one. anything that is not anything 4-2 or higher, I'm happy with the 6-60. 4-2, 5-1, 6-0. I'm one of those ones. And guys, if you're not following me on Twitter at Carmine Bianco WT, make sure you give me a follow as well too. I'll be tweeting out when it is finished recording the Let Carm Cook segment. Last week, 5-0 in the Circa contest, 4-1 in the Let Carm Cook because I did take the Thursday game when we recorded on Friday, so I tossed in a fifth game, which was the Colts and didn't cover. But 7-2-1, the last two Let Carm Cook episodes. We're cooking up some winners. Make sure you guys watch that video. Andrew, I'm done here, man. I'm going to give out my best bet in a second, but what do you have up at WagerTalk? And give us a show best bet.
Carm, I'm actually really, really low volume in the NBA, but I got a team total play locked in. And also tomorrow, I'm looking at a pretty decent slate as well, but a team total play in the NBA tonight. Getting ready for the NHL slate on Saturday. Every single play I take tonight in the NHL will be plays I mentioned on PuckTime. You know, if I find any other plays, of course, there'll be smaller plays for clients only. But that Colorado team total over 3.5, I like that one quite a bit. I like the number on it. I like the fact that they're getting healthier. And I like that we're seeing some defensive regression from the Washington Capitals. So I'm really excited about that play. But, you know, that's special, Carm. I just really want to promote that. I think it's a really great deal, and it gives people a chance to bet two different sports. You know, sometimes we'll team up and we'll do two packages of hockey together, but Trig and myself in the NHL and college basketball, one great price and one package. You go to my page, you go to his page, you get all of our plays for $2.99 for the whole month of both those plays. So both those sports. So looking forward to a great month, and hopefully both of us can get off to a really, really good run. But that's it for me, Carm. Over to you to close things out, man.
All right, so as I mentioned, two plays, they go at 2:45 today in the Nations League Match Day 5. So a couple games I do like. Three plays in the NHL for tonight, and then the weekend cards will be up shortly. The NFL card is the only one up right now, 5% play. I still have that great deal going on at WagerTalk where you can get 30 days of NFL for free if you pick up the discounted package of the NHL regular season and playoffs. So it's a great deal. You get 30 days of football. Great deal over at WagerTalk. No coupon needed. You'll find it as a standalone package on my page. Or pick up the 3-day all access and get everything today, tomorrow, and Sunday as well too. My free play is going to be the Utah game. If you can still grab the plus money, I say you take it. To take Utah plus 105. The Knights played well in Anaheim, but we're still tooth and nail to get a win there. Only they're second on the road in 7 games. I think Utah builds off of those 2 wins, the last one being over Carolina, and gets another win here against the Vegas Golden Knights. I'll take that plus 105. Guys, we appreciate all the comments you guys leave during the live broadcast and later on in the day in our comment section. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. 185,000 subscribers, growing each and every day. And drop a like, of course, to show your appreciation. For myself, Dan Alexander, Joe Ranieri, our producers, and Andrew McInnes, this is Puck Time. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Monday.